Hey everyone, Anders here with another Black Desert video. Today we are going to go over the updates this week on live servers. The loyalty shop has been updated this week. Any loyalty points you had before have been reset, so hopefully you used them before this maintenance. We have a coupon code for some free loyalty as well as a list of all of the new items and their costs. The new additions are these one-time or two-time per account limit bundles that offer some good value. Outfit bundles are also included in this, and the usual items that we know from before are still here with some exceptions. Most notably, character slot expansions are no longer available, which I think is pretty significant in a bad way. We still have value pack, which is good. This one is actually new for Korea, since there was no one-day value pack in the Korean region before this update. We also have a one-time season character creation ticket, which is nice to see, but would have been nice if it was more than a one-time item. Weight LT per character was updated to 6 times per character. Before it was limited to 4. So this is an increase. However, if you are on a character that already purchased the 4 allotted weight LT increases with loyalty, or even if you just bought one of them, the new shop will only show 2 available, or however many you bought deducted from the previous one. So if you bought 4 already on a character, you're going to see only 2 available after this update. This also works with a lot of the other expansion items like Family Inventory and Family LT. If you have already purchased these items with loyalty before this shop revamp, that amount will be deducted. There are some changes to the loyalty shop in general, which I think is why we're seeing some cost increases. So for example, we are now getting 300 loyalty per day, whereas before it was 200. This means if you wanted to buy a one-day value pack before, it took you 14 days of logging in to get it. And now with this new shop, it will still take you 14 days to get that one-day value pack. So in that sense, that's a good thing. There's also a time period where these items will be available. For now, the new shop is open till the end of the year. Then it will go through the 6-month cycle, where at the start of every cycle, our loyalty points get reset and the shop changes. Maybe that means we see items like character expansion slots come back. Maybe not, but we'll see. What's also new is that we now get loyalty whenever we buy pearls in the cash shop. So that's 3 ways now that we can get loyalty: through the daily login, through random events, and spending real money. I'll have the full list of items in the description. Just wanted to give you and highlight those few items and those few points. Overall, I don't really like the removal of character expansion slot vouchers. I think it's going to affect newer players more than veterans, which I'm always against. And it also pushes you to want to buy into the shop more than before. That's probably the idea behind the removal of that expansion slot ticket, but we'll see. I will say I am basing these items and these costs so far from what we've seen in the Korean patch notes, in the Taiwan patch notes, Asia and MENA regions. So maybe the NA and EU shop is different. I won't know until we see the patch later today. We do have a new coupon code for a secret scroll of pure equilibrium, weapon exchange coupon box, and sub weapon exchange coupon, allowing you to fully reroll to any class you want. However, I would maybe wait a little bit till May when we start seeing whatever it is they have in store for PvP and combat system changes. This should deal with resistance and CC, so if you're unhappy with your class, especially in PvP, and want to switch to something better, I would hold off for now until we see how classes change with the coming updates. For the rest of the patch, sailor slots on Carracks have been expanded to include room for the new fish sailor. This is the Carrack sailor fishing function they mentioned recently. This type of fishing will not be affected by your fishing mastery, so you don't need to sacrifice your sailing mastery gear. Instead, there's going to be a 3% fixed prize fish catch rate. There's also a new piece of gear you can use called the Ocean Bound Otter Fishing Rod that will allow you to auto fish on your Carrack. This can be obtained through a quest and via the Seacoin shop. Cabin space has also been expanded to 110. Auto fishing takes 3 minutes per catch, and they've also added a new UI indicator showing you when the fishing gauge will fill and succeed in catching your fish, and it only works when you're actively moving. The weekly fishing contest has received some changes with this update as well. Mainly, the amount of people that can win rewards has increased to 300. There is a reward structure where the first place of a particular fish will receive a permanent standard blue title that will say something like the biggest tuna or the biggest skipjack, whatever fish you participated in, for example. Placing first, second, or third will also give you these new title tokens that can be exchanged for items such as a permanent sky blue title that says Fisher and furniture items for your manor and residence. They've also added 3 new drafts for fishing that provide fishing mastery, XP, and fishing levels. For Guild League, they have changed the way records are stored when the match ends. When you exchange 100 boss auras with any boss armor piece, you will now also obtain that dedicated title linked with those pieces. Sailor Contract Certificate and Heavy Duty Packaging Cord have been updated to more clearly guide you in how to use those items. Embers of Resonance have been added to Tungrad Ruins and City of the Dead grind spots. Some minor quest changes to some Balanos quests that had the same name and prevented some players from getting that extra inventory slot item. Previously, deleting a character would also reduce the number of completed quests in the Rule of P travel log, but with today's update, you can delete characters without losing your progress, and from now on, the quest count in Rule of P travels will not decrease no matter what happens. This is a huge change and actually makes it possible for low spending players to finish up the log and get those rewards. They're also adding a way for you to choose how to display your sheet AP and DP. Before, we normally had 330 AP and 426 DP as an example, but with grind spots now asking for specific total AP and DP requirements to show whether or not you can actually grind there, and Node Wars requiring more specific setups, they've added a way for you to essentially show your total AP and total DP right on your character gear window. They've also added options to include racial damage in the AP calculation as well. You can now move the chat window box without needing to enter the edit UI function. They've improved the spacing between party members in the platoon list and party member list. Icons for Life Guild missions have been improved. And lastly, you can now teleport through wells while being in a party. That's all for the updates this week. I'll have an event overview for new events this week in a video tomorrow. Let me know what you think about the new loyalty shop, and do you like to change to the AP and DP display for our gear? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.